So, hi guys. Here with my friend Khalifa,
Hi.
and we're going to talk about hair in the workplace, specifically natural hair in the workplace. So, what has your experience been like so far?
I think it depends on where I'm working, honestly, because some days, like when I'm working more with guys, it's like, oh my God, you changed your hair, for me, it's not that dramatic. Like today I have big hair. Next week I have braids. Hey, the week after that I might, want straight hair or wear my hair in a puff, whatever. But I feel like people are always a little taken aback. So I think sometimes people don't recognize me because I don't have the same hair that I had before. Like, oh, last time I seen you, your hair wasn't like that.
Oh, yeah.
But my face didn't change.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? The only thing that changed was my hair. So I don't know if it's like that much of a defining thing that I've experienced it to be. And I just feel like sometimes I don't mind, I guess, talking to women about my hair because it's just like it's hair. Who cares? Mm-hmm. But I think with the men, it's a little uncomfortable because you're actually
you have to explain.
Yeah, you have to explain it.
Explaining your hair to someone, and then
so
discussing it.
Where's your real hair? What do you do? Do you wash your hair? What do you mean? Do I wash my hair? Do you wash your hair? Do you wash your hair?
Don't ask if I wash my hair.
Yes, I wash my hair often. Too much.
I had so my experience has been, I'm very much so a creature of habit when it comes to my hair. I want to say I big chopped 4 years ago, and before that had perm. It was always the same. Always had it down, or always had it in a ponytail.
Right.
It was either had it wrapped, let it go, ponytail, wrap, ponytail. That was it. Maybe a bun, maybe a little it just didn't.
Very simple.
Didn't vary at all.
Mm-hmm. Until
I tried a weave. I said, I want to see what the hype is. I want to see what that side of the life is.
Right.
And it was a great weave, mind you. But I was one of maybe 1, 2 and a half other black women. And I was the youngest one there. Mm-hmm. Except for one other, Dana. And she was, Macy is really just taking the show here. Chill, homie. And so it kind of became, I was the ambassador for young black girls everywhere. That's another thing I noticed about being the black girl in the workplace. Depending on the cultural dynamic, it's we tend to be the beacon for all black people.
Right.
Whereas a white person is never going to represent the entire white race.
Right.
But you all of a sudden have to answer for, well, why do you guys feel that way about, people touching your hair?
Right.
Or why do you guys feel that way about, talking about food and what you eat for the holidays or whatever stupid thing they want to ask you about? And yes, by they, I mean non-blacks. Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of we all of a sudden, why do I know what all black girls like to do with their hair? It's not my job to all of a sudden be the ambassador for every other black girl that you know. I'm sure your kids have black friends.
Right.
Ask them, and don't expect me to be able to speak for anyone other than myself.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because my hair is natural, I have to be worried, if I'm going to a job interview, what you do with my hair? Mm-hmm. I can't just wear it in a fro, or you cut it's easier now, but these are the things that are taken into consideration. And then, I just feel I'm trying to think of how to write this.
Okay. I guess the part of what it is for me is that I shouldn't have to act any way differently than who I am as a person.
Exactly. So I feel I'm very black. That's me. Mm-hmm. And I feel I should be okay with that. You know what I mean?
It's okay.
There's nothing wrong with me being black. There's nothing that I want to hide about that. So I feel I shouldn't have to tone down my blackness because I want to go to corporate America, or because I want to go somewhere, or because I'm dealing with someone from another race. That's not fear.
Where you're the only person,
Exactly.
the only person of color in a group
Exactly.
of people. You don't want to unblacken yourself
Exactly.
so that
Exactly.
they feel comfortable.
And sometimes that happens, you know, or where, you know, you're in situations and it's like, okay, I don't want to, like, it's a very weird space to be in. And I feel like for a long time I kind of had to deal with that, and I just had to kind of own it, you know, like,
right.
This is me, kind of take it or leave it. But I mean, it's difficult because you don't want to come off too strong, and then you don't want things to become inappropriate. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I've had someone call my hair broccoli, which is like, you know what I mean?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's like, so it's like,
yeah,
really
it's
funny.
like, but at the same time, you don't want to be the
you don't want to be like,
hey,
exactly. So it's always like, it's like a catch-22, and I guess you gotta take the good with the bad. But still, it's just like, you know, some things, like, you never, like, I never had this issue when I permed my hair.
Right.
Like, I've never had no one cared about my hair when I permed it. When I weave it, when I braid it, I just back it up. Everyone cares. Like, it's a topic of discussion.
Right.
And it's nothing wrong with that, but, like, dude,
there's a line. It's like, I'm at work.
I don't want to talk about my hair.
Something work related. Like, I just went through that. I had gray faux locks.
Right.
And my boss's boss came to my face and was like, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I miss your regular hair. Which, I mean, I'm sure she thought was a compliment, which I get that I love the way that you normally are. And it was just like, oh, this is, as soon as I took my hair out, I'm so happy you're back. This is the Dana I know. I love this Dana. I hated the other ones. Like, girl, yeah, I know you hated it, but that wasn't going to change how long I left it in or, you know, what I did with it. It's like, why does that matter? If I tell you, my boss's boss, that I hate this haircut, or I hate this hair color on you, or this blonde is a little too blonde, maybe you should let your grays come in.
Right.
It's like, you know what I mean? Then I'm inappropriate. Whereas you can say that you like or you don't like my hair.
Right.
And it's like, is it an age thing? Is it a superiority thing? Or is it a cultural thing? Like, is it okay to tell the black girl that you don't like her hair? Or is it okay because I'm not your, I don't want to say I'm your subordinate, but, you know, I'm not your inferior, but I'm just not managerially on your level. You know?
Like, I think what I've like, noticed is that, like, you kind of, I'm trying to think of the right way to word, but I feel like you always are fighting to kind of define your beauty, so to speak. Like, this is the way my hair grows. This is what I want to do with my hair. And I'm always changing my hair. You know, tomorrow I might have braids, or people are like, why are you changing your hair? Why don't you just wear your hair that way? Or, like, when someone tries to kind of say you have an issue because you want to change your hair. No, I just like to look different. It's not that deep. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's just like, but if, you know, if someone has streaks one day, a bob, but it's all like straight and it's silky, then it's fine. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like that conditioning, and I feel like it also depends where you work. Like, if you work in a little
pro-black
more,
environment,
it's fine. But if you work in some, like, what I've noticed is you work with people who are younger, they don't care, but you kind of work in male-dominated industries, right? Because I used to do, like, you know, so those things are like more of a discussion than others, and
because you're the minority.
Exactly. So
you're the minority now.
Yeah.
So.
For me, I'm like, do I have this discussion and just kind of say why this is inappropriate, what's wrong with this, or do you kind of let this pass? And then you're like, I don't want to not say anything,
right? But
I don't want to necessarily say anything either. You know,
sometimes you just don't want the added headache of trying to explain yourself to other women, because I know that sometimes when I'm trying to explain something, I get caught up in regular me life and don't necessarily carry on my professional persona.
Right, exactly.
It's like, you're paying me to be polite to people. You're paying me to be, you know, I don't say articulate, because I for damn sure am articulate in my normal life, but you're paying me to be professional. Right. So I don't want to treat you in any way other than that, because we're not friends. We're here for work. So it's like, sometimes I just don't want to explain things because I'm going to get upset about certain things, or I may get in my fucking feelings about something because this is personal to me. And it's like, am I just not personal because I had some like monumental personal reasons to go natural? I just didn't want to perm my hair anymore. I hated sitting at the salon all day. That's why I went natural. A lot of people are like, oh, I know what you're doing. You doing like that go back to Africa thing.
No,
I just don't like.
I just don't want to perm my hair.
That was it.
Have you read the ingredients on that box? Like, yeah.
Me, it was time. I was living in Long Island. I didn't like the way Long Island Dominicans did hair. So it was having to go all the way to Queens. And now when I get there, I was hustling from work. Now by the time I get there, y'all arguing me out of getting a deep condition. And it's just like, right? It was just so stressful. And I'm just like, wait a minute. All these women look beautiful with their natural hair. I just at the time wasn't, like before then, I just wasn't ready to not have hair. Because I knew the whole transitioning thing was not for me.
I transitioned. I weave my hair until I kind of like one day.
Mind you, that weave lasted 2 weeks. That was it. 2 weeks. It was a good weave too.
Why? Like, only 2 weeks?
It looked good because I couldn't get with not being able to feel my scalp. I couldn't, like, okay, my head itches. It's something so simple as in regular life, you just scratch your head and be about your business. But that whole patting on the head and scratching the whole and trying to get to
the comb in there.
Yeah, like, I couldn't get down with it. Like it wasn't affecting my. I couldn't. So I went to the salon and I was just like, yeah, I went to a big shop. But my dress still had the weave in, and it was a good weave. Like it looked like my hair. And because mind you, you and I both know we've seen some bad wigs and some bad weaves, and you know exactly who I'm talking about when I say this. And so it's just like, that obviously isn't yours. You could look at that and say, yeah, that's not your hair. But when I went there, the woman was like, you good? Like, you want to cut your hair? I'm like, yeah, I'll chop it all off. It's like, you want to cut your hair? Like, but your hair is, oh girl, this is a weave. We gonna, this ain't on mine. We're going to take this out, and then we're just going to chop my hair. Oh, okay. So then it was just like, people, that was another kind of weird thing. It's just like, so what if that was my hair? But if I did have all this, you know.
Because people expect that you're so attached to your hair. And I feel like, you know, it's a thing like, oh, your hair is so beautiful. Which is understandable, but it's just like, it's just hair.
It's gonna grow back.
When I first went natural and I was just going through the process, like my hair, it took me a long time to learn how to detangle my hair. I kind of was just like, not, you know. So I'm just like not that attached to it, but it's just like you have to get there, and some people are just so attached to it.
It's a personal thing. When you're ready to, if you big chop, when you're ready to not have hair is when you're going to be ready to big chop. When you transition, when you're comfortable with the length that your natural is, or when you're comfortable taking off enough of your processed ends or relaxed ends, it's going to be to your comfort level. It's going to be what you're ready for, and that's one thing somebody can't decide for you.
I remember like the first time I wore my like actual fro to work, and you know I was doing the transitioning thing, and I was wearing wigs for a long time, and then like someone told me, and they were like, "Oh my God, Khalifa, why don't you just wear your natural hair? Like it looks so beautiful. You have such beautiful hair," and I'm just like, shut up.
No.
Like, not that I don't appreciate it, but like, because it's my decision. You understand what I'm saying? Like, just like your hair, keep it moving. We don't have to have this full.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't have to tell you like, oh, well, 2 months ago, this was, you know, I had heat damage. I had to cut out once. Like, just, it's not that. Like, I just wish that, like, for me, it was just an easy thing. But I think it also depends, like I said, a lot on where and who you work with. So the more people you work with that are not black, the more you're going to deal with this. That's it.
And certain people, like I love my boss, so I will definitely give her, you know, she's Puerto Rican. So part of me expects her to understand certain things about blackness, not because I get that she's not black, but you're also a brown woman. Like,
exactly.
You know, like, so I expect her to know certain things, but when she doesn't, and I end up explaining them to her, like, it's because we have that type of relationship where I'll let her touch my hair, and I'll explain it to her and walk her through, this is what a crochet install is, these are the individual installs, and my hair is braided under, so I don't have a problem going through it with her. Because
when we have the appropriate relationship.
Thank you. Like, that's where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Others, no.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't feel the need to say to you what it's doing or how, like, if I'm not going to explain to you how I did it, like, don't ask me how I did it. Like, don't do that. So, what was your experience like when you ended up going for a new job? Like, what did you do with your hair? What was that conversation?
All right. So this was an interesting, that was the first time I was like, what am I going to do with my hair? Because I'm like, I did the phone interview. It went fine. They love me. You know, I'm very bubbly and, you know, very well spoken. So everybody's like, okay, good. We can't wait to meet you. So I had the locks too.
Okay.
And I had like red locks. Like, so they weren't a bright red, but I felt
like a green.
Yeah, exactly. Like a wine color, right? And then I'm like, and then they were getting a little old. Like, I'm like, I didn't really want to take them out. But I really was like, I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, this is the first impression. I'm like, this is the first time I've ever felt like, what am I going to really do with my hair as far as like, I actually care what people are going to think. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, should I take out my hair? Wow. What if these are not, like, these are unconventional, right? Okay. Like, that's how I felt a little bit because they were, like, I don't have dreads, and this is not to, offend anyone with dreads. But I felt like it was a little unconventional for me.
Right.
Because I don't usually, exactly. It's not my normal hairstyle. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take my hair out. I'm just going to wash it, and I'm just going to go. And if they don't like me because my hair, at least I'm content that I went in as myself. I put my very best foot forward, and that's fine. It worked out. I ended up getting the job, but I was like, that was the first time that I ever had to think of something like that. And I felt like, you know, this is a discussion that I just started, stopped perming my hair not too many years ago. Maybe like, 2015, 2013.
Okay.
You know, like 2-3 years ago. So this is not a discussion that I've ever had to, have or think of. And then like, I feel like it's not a common discussion. It's not a topic that I feel like it's talked about enough within like my own community because I'm like, do I take out my hair? Like I just felt like I didn't want to be judged, or like, and this is the problem, and I guess the sadness of the situation is that I don't want to be judged or boxed in because of my hair. Like, that is the reality of it. Like, if I do this with my hair, I'm going to be considered this before I even open my mouth.
Absolutely.
And that is the problem that I have. So.
You know what I think it is? Don't make a spectacle out of it.
Right.
It's one thing to come to me and say, oh, your hair looks really different today. What did you do that's different to it? Or, if you just want to say, can I ask you a personal question? How long did that take? Or, what is, like, I've always wondered about something like that. Like, I had one of the patients, really old Jewish lady, who, I don't know how we became best friends. I guess it's because I'm the only person, not I would say the only person, but I've taken, on numerous occasions, my time to just be patient with her when she's being very irate. So I think we kind of built a certain, level of
certain relationship.
Yeah, where we're not homegirls.
Right.
But, like, of all the people, like, she'll come in and discuss certain things with me and, whatnot. So anyway, she's, I guess, very well-read about a lot of different things. So she's definitely, explained to me, yeah, I understand what that is. Like, I know that took a lot of time and, she's really speaking from a place of a little more knowledge than, the average old Jewish lady you would expect to come from. So it's like she's not discussing it like I'm a spectacle to her. You know what I mean? She's just talking to it as a, I can't do that with my hair. These are the differences that I see in hair. And we're just having a casual conversation.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't really think that if you're not on that level with someone, it should be like a topic of conversation.
I agree. And I feel like, like you said, don't make a spectacle of my hair. Mm-hmm. Because if you're making a spectacle of my hair or you're doing, like, if you don't feel that comfortable asking the question, I'm probably not going to feel that comfortable answering
There you go. That's a perfect way of just kind of putting it in the nutshell that it needs to be in. Your level of comfortability is going to be my level of acceptance to your question. And you might get surprised and find someone that's a little more open to something that you may be a little standoffish. But you know what? Let's not change that.
Exactly.
So that's the episode there, guys. Khalifa, where can the people find you?
Khalifa _ good, like 4 O's on Instagram. Yeah, I'm on Instagram.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that jazz. Definitely show the conversation series some love. Okay, bye guys.